All right, guys, going live now. Now waiting 3 more minutes. It's time to talk about this game. Tough game. Tough ending to the game. Tough game the whole game. Um, Everyone's going to talk about the defense. Everyone's going to talk about AD Mitchell, and rightfully so. But I'm here to bring you some real talk. Um, Colts defense did their jobs for a good amount of the day in some big moments, okay? The Colts defense kept them in the game late. There were many times the offense went like three and out, kept making mistakes. The 80, the 80 Mitchell catch for the almost touchdown and then fumbles it, turns it to a touchback, and 80 Mitchell and Xavier Howard are terrorists. Hey, look, listen, I'm going to talk about 80 Mitchell, but welcome, Rat. I'm going to talk about 80 Mitchell. Welcome, Red. Appreciate you showing up. We'll talk about them. We'll go through it all. But this game could be summed up in 3 words for the Colts: Mitchell, mistakes, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua. I tried keeping it to all 3 M's, but you got to throw Puka Nacua in there. And it's hard to find a spot to start with this game, okay? Because there's a lot of different times in this game the Colts made mistakes. You could pinpoint, go to so many different spots in the game where the offense made a mistake, whether it was holding, whether it was offensive pass interference. I mean, there are a lot of different mistakes that were made. That's just Daniel Jones. It wasn't all Daniel Jones. I think there's gonna be a lot of people looking at this game. They're just gonna look at the box score, look at Jones's numbers, and he should have had 3 interceptions. And here I am still defending him. But look, that's not okay. You can't almost throw 3 interceptions. Daniel Jones had not his best game, of course, but he was okay. I mean, I still thought Daniel Jones did a lot more good than bad. That big play to AD Mitchell, beautiful throw. Play towards the end to Michael Pittman. Oh, just forcing it in there. Wasn't there. First drive, you throw an interception. The last drive, you throw an interception. That's how you lose games. Lost or turnover battle 3-1, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. Fortunate it wasn't 4 turnovers, 4 giveaways. It's hard to find one spot to start with this game though. But I'm going to start with the defense because I feel like a lot of people are talking about this defense in a very negative way. But I think that this defense was okay. I really don't think that the defense was the reason why we lost. You could look at the 88-yard touchdown, and that was a botch. That was. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, there were 10 guys on the field. Lou, you called a good game. A lot of people are going to say he didn't, but I think he called a good game. DJ played a good game. No, but he also can't hold on to the ball for AD Mitchell. When he fumbles it for a touchback, that completely killed everything. And then the holding call sucked too. We'll get back to that. But the defense, look, man, in that second half, the third quarter, that defense played lights out. That defense was very good. Defense is decent, just banged up secondary and Xavier Howard. And I see a lot of people complaining about that. That's another thing about the defense I want to talk about. I see a lot of people complaining about Lou Anarumo putting Xavier Howard on Puka Nacua, not putting Shavarius Ward on him. Look, it's pick your poison at that point. A lot of people think, okay, we're just going to put X on Devontae Adams and we'll be fine. No, look at how good Shavarius Ward played all game long against Devontae Adams. He pretty much kept Adams in check. And Adams is, a lot of people are going to tell you that Adams is washed, but he's most definitely not. Adams is still one of the most talented receivers in the league right now. And Shavarius Ward had himself a day over there. It's just unfortunate. I'm sure the Colts were just kind of hoping that X would make, a play or two. And he really didn't. We'd also talk about Nick Cross's when he came in the middle, he kind of chased it outside. There was nothing out there, kind of opening up for Matthew Stafford to go to Devontae Adams at the end of the half. And Shavarius Ward was hoping that Nick Cross was going to help him in the inside there a little bit. So I'm not blaming Ward 100% there. A little bit of Cross's fault. Nick Cross has played absolutely phenomenal. I thought Mike Hilton played pretty good. I just don't understand why you have 10 guys like that. Like, that is a major error. Having 10 guys on the field instead of 11, it's hard enough to play defense against the Rams with 11 guys. You have one less guy and you're at a major disadvantage. It doesn't help that Mekhi Blackman just straight up tripped. Of course, that doesn't help. Got tangled up with his feet, and that sucked. That was rough. No, you could leave. I'm not interested. So I thought the defense did their job. Like I was saying, in the third quarter, they made plays. They made that defense made a lot of plays in the third quarter to keep the game close. If that defense doesn't play lights out the way they did coming out of the half, then this game wasn't even this close. We don't even have that chance at the end. If A.D. Mitchell doesn't fumble, doesn't have the holding call there, the Colts probably win this football game. Probably. You still can't say for sure. It seems like they would have. But look, guys, this defense is good enough. This defense is good enough to get us places. It's just the mistakes on offense is what hurt us today. And you can't set yourself back, behind schedule against Rams defense. Ward had Adams in his back pocket. If he was on Puka, however, Adams would have hurt the Colts less, in my opinion. Either way, it's like pick your poison, because Adams is still very good. They're both good in their very own rights. It feels like, it's very hard to play defense against both. It's very hard to play defense against all these guys. And then Matthew Stafford, and then Tutu Atwell made the play when it mattered most late in the game. Oh, I'm impressed with this defense, even though a lot of people aren't going to be. I am more impressed with this defense than what a lot of people are going to give them credit for. I really am. But I do get it. I do get why people are aggravated. Another thing about this defense got pressure all day long, it felt like. This defense was getting to Matthew Stafford all day long. It felt like Adi Tamuadabore. This is a guy I was excited about. I'm like, this guy could be the future. In the defensive line. And I thought he had a nice game. Latu. Wow. That dude had a big game. Felt like he was in the backfield all day long. You see how many times that they were getting Kyron Williams involved there and blocking him, just chipping him, keeping him away from Stafford. Impressive. Latu had himself a big day against the Rams offensive line that has been playing really well too. And I like that Lou Aruma was doing stunts with these guys. This is what we needed. We needed these stunts. That's how athletic these guys are. Latu looked amazing. Sure did. Latu was incredible. But it was just Xavier Howard did hurt. Absolutely. Mike Hilton, I thought he played well. Cam Bynum played well. Nick Cross played well except for one miscue. But that was this entire Colts team all day long. It was just the miscues, the little mistakes here and there. And when you go toe-to-toe, going across the country with the best team in the NFC, can't make those mistakes. And I will say, in the first half, I thought the defense was pretty bad in the first half, though. The defense did not have a complete game. In the first half, the defense was pretty bad. Left and right, Matthew Stafford just doing whatever he wanted. They're just fortunate that a couple penalties set you back. That set the Rams back. If those couple penalties don't set the Rams back, the Rams might score a couple touchdowns in those spots. And there were a couple of opportunities for us to get picks in this game too. Couldn't get them. Very disappointing. Zaire Franklin had a chance for one. I'm trying to think where else we had a chance. I think Shavarius Ward had a chance to get an interception. didn't get it. Kwity and Emukam, no, they struggled. They struggled. I thought that speaking of Kwity Paye, I'm not saying it's all Kwity Paye's fault, but I feel like the run defense was pretty bad, and I think that's due to our to our linebacker play. It's not what it has been in the past, but I'm also going to give the Rams offensive line that offense credit. The Rams offensive line is very good, very strong, within themselves. So, the Rams offensive line is very good. And I was impressed with the pressure we got all day in the pass game, but the run game, the run defense was not there. It was not good, and that cannot continue. I felt like the Rams should have ran more, but they were passing so well, and Xavier Howard was having a rough game. I think Xavier Howard's going to figure it out. I really think so. I think he's going to figure it out as the season goes on. Don't forget he was out. He did miss a lot of time playing football, and it takes some time to get back into the swing of things. It takes time to get back into it, and I think X is going to catch up sooner or later. I think he's going to get something figured out and be all right. He's been really bad. First 3 weeks he's been absolutely horrible. Week 1 he was all right. Felt like a revenge game, sure, but didn't show up the rest of the games. He has struggled. It's easy to get upset after this game. It's easy to overreact. But this team just went toe-to-toe with the best team in the NFC. Matthew Stafford, Puka, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, Higbee, good offensive line. This offense is about as good as they come, man. That offense is about as impressive, as talented, and as well coached as they come. It doesn't get much better than the Rams offense. It really doesn't. Of course, and then you have Tutu Atwell. Like he made the big difference making play on offenses this game. When it mattered most deep down. The Colts were covering Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Tutu Atwell stepped up. Nick Cross almost had an interception at one point in this game. Almost. But I'm not also going to ignore the first half where the Rams were making a lot of mistakes on offense. They were setting themselves back. It was like the Colts and the Rams were both setting themselves back in the first half. And then interception to begin and then end the game. It's not how you play football. It really matters how you start and how you finish. Colts didn't start well. They didn't finish well. Well, they almost finished well, but almost doesn't count. Close but no cigar. It sucks. We're not undefeated anymore. That does suck. But I think we learned a lot about this team this game. Besides the mistakes, the mistakes aren't okay. Obviously, they're not. Tyler Warren, let's talk about the offense a little bit. Offensive line struggled, but Daniel Jones still had a okay game. I know he should have thrown 3 interceptions, had 2. I'm still happy with Daniel Jones' performance. I still thought he played a good game. Was it a great game? No. It was an okay game. A good game. And the defense gave this offense an opportunity. That's another thing. The defense got their turnover late, found a way to punch it out. Kyron Williams had a chance, very short field to go score a touchdown. Can't score a touchdown in that situation. You have to. If you get the ball, was it within the 30-yard line? You have to go and score on that drive. A touchdown, not a field goal. You need a touchdown in that situation. You can't settle for. You can't kick field goals when you're starting at like the 25-yard line. You can't do it. Can't do it. AD should be cut and replaced by McCole Hardman. I disagree, man. I disagree, Jimmy. I disagree. I know a lot of people aren't happy with AD, and rightfully so. I can't really defend him this game. He had an opportunity to step up, and he didn't. He did the opposite. He really kind of gave us a reason not to play him. He made that big mistake early in the game, fumbled the football, touchback. So as soon as I was looking at the replay, I'm like, This, I immediately thought of Jonathan Taylor's fumble. Immediately. My brain went right to there. And I'm like, look, this is the reason why we're going to lose. This is the reason. And we ended up losing. And it's just very disappointing. And then he had, the fumble. Or no, not the fumble. Um, it was the holding call on Jonathan Taylor scoring touchdown. I don't know if Jonathan Taylor actually scores there if AD Mitchell doesn't throw him down like that. Maybe he does. There's a good chance he does, but it's not guaranteed. You have at least a field goal in that spot, in that situation. So AD Mitchell is almost kind of responsible for like 12 points, 14 points almost. And that could have been the difference in this game. Could have, would have, should have. I think it's also fair to look at all the mistakes we made, though, besides AD Mitchell. Offensive wise, it's bad. Holding penalties, Daniel Jones throwing interceptions to start and to finish the game. We got the run game going in the second half, which was good. How about that one play where Tana Borrellini was absolutely just drilled into the ground? Drilled into the ground. Waiting for the next one to come through. That was quite harsh, but he should at least be benched and have someone like Mecole Hardman join in. I think Ashton Dulin is a good step up guy. I think Dulin's good enough. I don't think AD Mitchell's going to be benched. He's still going to be involved. But if he continues to make these mistakes now in limited action and limited sample sizes, then okay. Now it's if he does this over a stretch of a couple games with limited action, then it's like okay, yeah, that's an issue. But I think you have to be patient with the kid. He's young. This is either going to do two things. A lot of people talk about that downward spiral, but there's also an upward spiral. He doesn't necessarily have to go into that. Doesn't necessarily have to go into that upward spiral of just finding a way to make big time plays all the time. But if he could come back, play all right, make a couple good, he still made a big catch, in that game afterwards. After all that happened, he still made a big catch in the last drive. That big third down, he caught it. He converted. That was big. That was huge. That was a big play right there. Big time moment. Got wide open and made the catch, made the play. So I think you have to be patient with the kid. I think, just think about it this way. Last year when Jonathan Taylor did that, did you think that, JT was going to be benched? Did you think that, he shouldn't be given another chance? Absolutely not. Now, it's a little bit different when you're proven. You're one of the most explosive players in the league. Still not good to make that mistake. I'm not defending Taylor for making that mistake whatsoever. But I'm just trying to make the point of everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes really bad plays. And it's easy just to look at that, especially when it's like almost a 14-point swing practically. Because he is responsible for 7 points right there. And you know what? We lost by 7. But there's some positives to take away from this game. It's not all negative. I think it's positive that we went toe to toe with the best team in the NFC. I'll take that. That is true, to be honest. Yes, sir. I'm just saying he's young. He's got a lot of talent. He's an explosive player, man. If he could clean up those couple of things, let me ask you this play. If he doesn't, big ifs, and it did happen anyway. But I'm just not willing to give up on AD because he has a lot of talent. How would you feel? We cut AD Mitchell. How would you guys feel if we cut AD Mitchell? Goes somewhere else and balls out. And then you're like, and then those are gonna be the same people pointing at Chris Ballard. Oh, look, he let the one receiver, another good receiver we had, we let go. Just think of all the backlash and all the craziness that would go against Chris Ballard in this moment. or Shane Steichen. I'm not happy with AD Mitchell's performance. Everyone has bad games. And unfortunately, these bad moments came in the biggest moments. It sucks. But at the end of the day, everyone makes mistakes, and this was a mistake that really led to the loss. But like I said many, 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 many times, I am not willing to give up on AD Mitchell yet. It is too early to give up on AD Mitchell. Way too early. Everyone makes mistakes. Now, look, here's the other thing. Here's the other end of it. Maybe he does come back and have a huge game next week. Pierce hit his head hard last week. Typically, you're out for 1 week with a concussion, but Pierce hit his head pretty hard. There's a possibility I could see Pierce being out one more week. But look, we have a week next week. We're playing, what is it, the Raiders or the Cardinals? Let's not is this game at home? Let's see. We have a chance to come back next week, have a big game. This is going to... Okay, let's see. Colts next week. They are... I think they're at... Oh, come on, where? Looks like they're at home. They're at home versus the Raiders, and they're at home versus the Cardinals. And then they go back on the road. They go right back to the same place in LA. Same place in LA, but you're home for the next 2 games. Okay? Focus up. Win these next 2 games, but they're not guaranteed. The Cardinals are a tough football team. I think a lot of Colts fans in general are going to look over this Cardinals team and be like, they're not for real, but they are sneaky. They're inconsistent. If the Cardinals could put together a full game, that's a difficult team to beat. So we just got to take 1 week at a time, guys. This is why last week I was like, look, enjoy the win. Enjoy every win. Enjoy every week. Don't look towards the playoffs yet. Don't look towards winning the division yet. Don't look towards any of that. The football season goes by fast enough without you wanting that. Without you, but if you're just going to look towards the playoffs, if you're just going to look towards, people talking about I've said a couple of times, I'm guilty talking about, this team could fight for the AFC. This team could be one of those teams. But this is what we have to do. This is what the players do. 1 week at a time and enjoy the moments, because this is a good a couple mistakes here and there in this game, and the Colts come out with this game. If they don't make those mistakes. And this is a Super Bowl champion quarterback, head coach, and they have such a good defense on top of it. The Rams are no joke. The Rams might be the best team in the NFL right now. Honestly. And the Colts put up a fight. It was pretty much down to the last minute. And the fact that the Colts put up the fight that they did, I'm happy with this team for that. You didn't win, though. That's okay. But like I was saying, you need to take one moment at a time, 1 week at a time, and let's enjoy this season, because it's still going to be a really good season. You have a good opportunity. You're at home next week. The next 2 weeks, you have an opportunity to go 2-0 and be 5-1 going back to LA. Just got to take 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time. One game at a time. Look at what the Colts did the first 3 weeks. You just played one of the best defenses in the NFL, one of the best overall teams in the NFL, and you put up a good fight. So I'm not willing to say that this team isn't there. That this team isn't good because of this game. The pressure was there. We were asking questions if this defense could get pressure, and they got pressure all day long versus one of the better offensive lines, so far this year. Latu got pressure all day. DeForest Buckner made big plays. Adi Tommy would make big plays. I'm telling you, this Colts team has a lot to look forward to. Stop bashing on Lou. The one play he does deserve a lot of bashing for. He does deserve a lot of shit talk towards for having only 10 players on the field instead of 11. That's one of those major things that's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You need to have 11 players out there. It's hard enough to stop that offense with 10. or with 11. You need to have all 11. Can't have 10 out there. That's just a major error. But let me tell you, man, 1 week at a time. All right? Relax. Enjoy the rest of your days. That's all you can do. Get ready, get excited for next week. Because it's a big game next week. We're gonna see if this team could come back next week and play a big game next week. They have to put this game behind them. They need to use this game as film. For hey, we can't make these mistakes or we're gonna lose like this. We can't do this type of stuff. Getting behind the schedule versus one of the better defenses in the NFL. Any offense does that, they're gonna have a hard time converting third downs. They're gonna have a hard time on offense all day long. Colts were impressive. Minus some mistakes, they win this game, but they didn't at the end of the day. But one game at a time. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Just wanted to get live on here, talk about this for a couple minutes, and I'm not sure why that's not coming through. Sorry, Jimmy. I see you've been commenting, but it's not coming through on Restream for me, which is weird. But I'll read your comments. If he can clean those mistakes, he could be a solid receiver, 100%. Even at this game, Daniel Jones still has. Yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of positives there. And just think about that. He has one more touchdown under. He has another touchdown under his belt if AD Mitchell doesn't fumble that. So it is what it is. It's understandable to get upset over this game. It's understandable to just to be down a little bit. It's okay. It's only week 4, guys, and it's a loss in the NFC. Another thing is, sometimes it's good to get that loss out of the way. Sometimes it's like, it's okay. Come back, fly around next week, make big plays next week. A game that you should win next week. Let's not overlook the Raiders. But that's a big game. So, see you guys later. I'm going to get out of here. This is Jason. I'll catch you guys next time.